Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. I've got something today that's new to my channel. I've kind of taken a foray into a little bit cheaper GPS drone. One of the things that I've always liked to do on my channel is show people that you don't have to spend $1,500 on a drone to have a good time in this hobby. So I like every so often to pick up one of these lower end GPS drones and just see if we can get some decent video out of them and they fly okay. So with that in mind, I bought the SG906 Pro drone. Now the Pro version has a 2-axis gimbal, and I did a little unboxing of this yesterday, and I'll show that. But I also want to show you this box itself. It's kind of a handy little carrying thing. They actually have this flap has magnets in it, so it holds itself closed, and then when you open it up, it's a pretty decent carrying case for the drone as well. So, you know, it's a cheaper drone, but I think that was kind of a neat feature. But anyway, I'm going to roll that unboxing right now. Hey everybody, this is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. I have the SG906 Pro drone for you today. This is the drone that's known as the Beast drone. The Pro designation means that it has a 2-axis gimbal attached to it, mechanical gimbal. So in theory should give us some smooth, stabilized video. It is a foldable drone. It's got brushless motors. It has obviously GPS, so it's return to home, point of interest. It's got a waypoint function to it, and then it says it'll do a follow me with the controller. And it's saying there on the box Ultra HD 4K photograph, but that's exactly right. That is just a photograph. I believe it is just 1080p video. And then it's there again, it says it's got the 2-axis gimbal, 50 times zoom. There again, that's a digital zoom, so you know you don't expect much out of that. And then of course it has optical flow. So a few other things. It's got gesture control, which is something nobody ever uses, but it has it if you want to. I remember when that came out on the Spark, everybody was all at Twitter over that, and you know, you used it once and then nobody ever used it again. But in any case, let's open up this box and let's see what's inside here. So I'm not familiar with how this comes apart. Okay, so looks like I had it upside down there. I'll be darned if I know what the max is. This is the Pro model, but there you can see they have them listed on the box there. So like I said, the smart drone, I don't know how smart it is because it doesn't have a stabilized camera. But so this is the middle one. This is the Pro. So let's just pull this guy out of the box. And yeah, you know, pretty decent feeling product. Then there is the controller. I got to be honest with you, just handling this controller, it feels pretty lightweight. Yeah, and it looks like it just uses yeah, whenever you see a battery compartment like that, it just uses AAA batteries, and it tells you it's never a good sign. So then you can look at these antenna, and you can tell they're not real antenna because there's no wires in them or anything. So they're just there for looks. So clearly this is going to be Wi-Fi from your phone to the drone. Anyway, so let's see what else is in here in this box. And let me get the big box out of the way. So I'm sure this is just normal parts. Yeah, I'm seeing documentation, a bunch of documentation in there. I'm not going to pull that out. You got the spare props, and looks like we got some thumb gimbals and a screwdriver and a USB cable. So I'm sure that's just a charging cable, and doesn't look like there's any charger per se. So I'm assuming that you would just charge the battery on this thing with a cell phone charger. So let's unfold the drone here and take a quick look at it. There we are. The plastic is gone, and it says right there in big letters "Beast," and a picture of a bull head there. So yeah, and you know what? It's a pretty attractive drone. Honestly, looks good. And I kind of like that that it's their own design. You know, it doesn't look like you know, a lot of other generic drones you see out there. So yeah, we'll have to get that plastic off of the gimbal cover there. And yeah, so here is an optical flow sensor on the bottom, and then this is the Wi-Fi antenna. So whenever you see that, you know that's an antenna. Let's see if we can get the battery out of here. There we go. Yeah, that was easy enough. And I like they put in big letters 7.4 volts, 2800 milliamp hours. So that's a pretty decent sized battery. And I don't know if it's a smart battery. Let's press the button here. Well, we got 4 lights. So I don't know if that means it's fully charged, but in any case, I'm looking at this for the first time, guys. So if I'm not completely familiar with this stuff, you'll know why. And I'm looking for a charge port and not seeing it, so we'll have to figure that out. There's the SD card port right there, which is good to see. So you're recording to an SD card and not something where it's downloading to your phone. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out because I do not see. Let's pull this out one more time. Oh, there it is. I missed it. Right there is the charge port. So micro USB charge port right there. So yeah. So what you would do is you would just use it. It comes with a charge cable, but like if you're like me, you've got about 1 million micro USB cables. So yeah, just plug it into a charger and charge that baby up. And the battery fits in there pretty good. And like I said, it's a pretty attractive little piece. Typical folding props, right? You know, they look pretty normal. Oh, they're screwed on there, so it looks like there's Phillips head screws that screw them onto the motors. So they're not quick release, but that's all right. You know, hopefully they just stay on there, and if you're not crashing, you're not going to have to worry about that. So let's take a look at the controller a little bit. Let's see. So those gimbals were in here. I'm not going to pull those out just yet, but I got to be honest with you, just feeling this. This is a real toy grade controller. It does not feel like, you know, like a real controller. It definitely feels like a toy. And I'm not going to unscrew this, but I'm sure it's AAA batteries that go in there. And looking at the buttons, looks like we have a this button is to take a picture. This button is to start recording. This is the on-off button for the controller. It's got a return to home button here on the left side. And then there must be different speed modes because that button says speed on it. I guess I have to say that, you know, everything is clearly marked, so I like that. There's no guessing about what button is what. Now, one thing that I don't see here that bothers me is there's no scroll wheel for the gimbal. So I don't know how you're going to control that gimbal up and down, and honestly that's pretty critical on a video drone. So we'll get into that when we get out and fly it. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. That is the unboxing of the SG906 Pro Beast drone. So I guess the next thing we need to do is get it out and fly it, huh? Hey guys, one more thing. So I pulled the gimbal cover off so I could show you the camera and the gimbal on here. So it is a 2-axis gimbal, so up and down and tilting. What it doesn't do is do the sideways movement. So when you're yawing, you know that there's a potential that you can get some jerky movement. And you know there's a lot of 2-axis gimbal drones out there. But one of the things I wanted to point out was when I first saw this cover, I saw the kind of crinkly stuff on there, and I thought it was covered in cellophane. When I get a closer look at it, you can see it's cracked. So a couple of things that I want to mention. When I did that unboxing, I said that these antennae were not functional. And I've seen other reviewers that say they are. So I don't want to give you bad information, but what I'm going to tell you is I don't know. I can tell you, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's no wires going up into them. So it really tells me that they're probably not functional. But then I also said that I didn't see any way to scroll the gimbal on there, and that it was because I had these down and the buttons were covered up. But as soon as I flipped them up, there's buttons right here for raising and lowering the gimbal. And then one of these buttons on the left is return to home, and one of them is headless mode. I'm not sure which is which, but we'll figure that out. So that brings me to my next subject. This thing came with literally about 6 owner's manuals, and not a single one of them was in English. We're going to have to kind of stumble through this together. I did watch a couple other reviewers, so I think I kind of have an idea of what's going on, but I couldn't even find a PDF version of the manual online. But anyway, so the controller here, I also want to show you, the gimbals are removable, but they're just simply, they don't screw in, they're just kind of a force fit. So you just stick them in there, and I guess you hope that they stay in there, but I don't know, it looks pretty good. So I was able to find the app for it. I had to go to Banggood's website, and I found the link, and it's the H-Fun Pro app. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. I believe that I connect my phone via Wi-Fi to the controller, and then the controller connects to the drone. I'm not exactly sure. We're going to have to stumble through that because, as I said, I don't have a manual. But let me pull the drone out here real quick. I do like the look of this drone. It's, you know, for the money. I think I paid $140 for this guy. If it'll fly decently and if it'll take reasonable video, you know, you're not going to expect high quality video out of this. You're not going to expect DJI video or even Hubsan Zeno video. What you're going to hope for is that it's just stable 1080p video, and if that's the case, it's a win. You know, I'm going to say size-wise, it's about the size of a Mavic Air. It's you know, it's fairly lightweight. I thought I saw it was about 500 grams, something like that, maybe a little more. Oh, the battery. The battery, I think I showed that already, but it is a 2800 milliamp hour battery. It's supposed to have a 25-minute flight time. So we're going to do is we're going to put it in the air. We're going to check stability. Oh, it does have an optical flow camera there on the bottom. We're going to see how stable it is and see if it flies okay. That's the main thing. We'll check return to home, and hopefully all that stuff will be good. And then if we can get through that and we can look at a little stabilized video with it, then we will take it up and maybe try some of the intelligent flight modes. I know it has a circle mode. It may have some other modes in there as well. I know it's got a follow me mode, so if we get enough battery time, we'll try some of that stuff out. But anyway, let's quit messing around, let's get it in the air. Okay, so I've got lights on the drone and I have lights on the controller, and the app is open. I see there's app instructions here, so we'll click on that. Okay, so it does have some instructions here, which is good, so I'll have to take a look at those. But in the meantime, let's click on settings and see what we get there. Update on, anti-shake is on. Yeah, there we go, setting completion. Prepare to fly, it says. Okay, this is good. So it says put the drone in a horizontal position, power on your drone. Click calibrate button to calibrate the drone. Now if we only knew what, the calibration button at the bottom here, okay. Your drone is not connected, please check. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to power everything off and power it back on again. Yeah, so I have nothing to connect to on Wi-Fi here, so don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna have to dig into it a little bit. Okay, I think I got it figured out here. So, spinning the drone. Yeah, that's perfect. So it's telling me on the screen when it's calibrated. Excellent. Calibration success. Okay, that was a piece of cake, and then it takes us right into the app. So I'm going to go both sticks out and see if that arms the motor. Let me get out of the way here. Whoa. So when I did that, both of these gimbals popped out of the, like I said, they're just force fed in there. Yeah, so anyway, be careful with those, the gimbals. And by the way, I realized that I hadn't even turned on the controller yet. So this is odd. So I don't know how the controller talks to my phone, because it's my phone that's connected to the drone. And boy, my phone went dark here. I can barely see the screen now. Both sticks out. Both sticks in. Okay, so clearly the controller is not connected to the drone, so I'm going to do a little troubleshooting and we'll be right back. Okay, so what I did is I rebooted everything. I shut off the drone, turned it on, turned on the controller, and it connected. So we're going to try this again. Unfortunately, my iPhone screen, it's not that hot out here, but man, I can barely see the screen. It's gone dark. So let's try both sticks out. There we go. So yeah, you should be able to see that. Yeah, pretty steady hover there. Not bad. Now let's turn it around. Let me see if I can start video. Okay, so I believe I've started video. Anyway, let's bring it in here a little bit. Boy, it flies pretty decent, I'm telling you. And we're going to do a manual droney. So reverse and up now. So it actually, this thing flies pretty darn good, I'm telling you. So let's try return to home. And I know there's a button on the controller here, so let's hit that. And here it comes, man. It's wasted no time. And then it says going home on the screen. And it's orienting itself. It's going to be pretty close. So you can see it there. It is, it kind of bounced there once. Motors are still spinning. Yeah, finally shut them down. So, you know, it's a good probably 12 feet away from the pad, but that's acceptable. You know, you're probably going to want to land it manually anyway. So guys, this thing is my iPhone. I literally cannot see the screen right now. It's gone so dim. I just can barely see. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to shut everything down and see if I can sort out my device here and see if we can get that figured out, and then we'll try it again. Alright guys, I kind of moved my whole camera and everything kind of under this tree here, and I turned off my iPhone, fired it back up, took the cover off of it, and it's brighter again now, so hopefully it'll stay that way. That's odd. I've never had it go that dim before, and it's not that warm today, but I can tell you the iPhone was really hot, so don't know what was going on there. So we're connected. Let's I don't know if it'll do an auto takeoff. I know these two buttons on the back, one of them is to put it in headless mode, and the other one is for return to home, but let's see. Well, that didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't know what that did. It's beeping now. Okay, whatever it is, we turned it off. That could be return to home. Let's try the other one. No, that didn't do anything, and I'm looking on the app here. I'm not seeing anything that indicates whether that's headless mode or not. Anyway, we clicked it again. Well, so I guess it's a manual start. So we are going to do, well, just for the fun of it, let's Let's hit the return to home button on the controller. Yeah, no, that doesn't do anything. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the way so you can see the takeoff again. Both sticks out. And there again, see these gimbals, this gimbal came off here. They're just a force fit in there. Yeah, now I dropped it. Yeah, this gimbal thing is really phony. You know, I don't know how hard you want to push them in here. You're in the middle of a flight and those things come off, so, you know, I wasn't pushing that hard. So anyway, both sticks out again. So there we took off, and we're beeping. So I don't know what that is. Okay, so the left one lands it. I hit the left button and it landed. So let's take off again. Let's get a little higher off the ground. Yeah, I don't know. So I am going to start, the beeping stops, so that's the main thing. I'm going to start video on the app. So we've got video started. So let's take it for a little fly. I mean, I'm going to get back into the shade here. Unfortunately, like I said, my phone is not that bright. I've got it set on full brightness, so clearly it's heating up. But let's go up here a ways. We've proven that the return to home works pretty good. So let's get some forward flight here. And it is not terribly fast. It's saying 2 meters per second here. So I'm not going to go out very far with it because I do not know. I don't expect much range since this is Wi-Fi. So there's a speed button here. I'm going to hit that. And let's see what that does for speed then. Yeah, that kicked it up to 5 meters, 6 meters, 7 meters per second. Well, that's pretty darn good. Okay, so let's back it back off. And I'm going to drop that gimbal down just a little. I see we're looking at mostly at the sky. Well, that's too far. Okay, so let's full reverse here. And it's pretty quick, I'm telling you. Speed-wise, it's not bad. So let's hit it one more time and let's see what that does. So full stick forward. So that's 2 meters per second. So it must just be 2 speeds. Hit it again. Yeah, that was 2 beeps. 1 beep. So it's just 2 speeds. Yeah, so 2 beeps is it's in high speed mode, which is pretty darn good. Let's fly it around here a little. And I am trying to be ginger with the sticks, but it's tough. And I've already lost FPV. So I'm going to stop. I've turned around, I'm facing the drone. There I've got FPV back and a really crooked horizon, which yeah, the whole point of, yeah, so I'm kind of blocked by some trees and stuff, and I just don't have FPV anymore. So yeah, there it finally came back, and the horizon even straightened out a little. Yeah, so I'm gonna back it up here and keep it the other direction. What I'm going to tell you is you better have open space in front of you. Yeah, I don't know what I got here. So I've lost FPV altogether. I just have a frozen screen. So I hit return to home. Yeah, we'll have to look at video to see where the drone was even at. So yeah, we're going through battery pretty quick here. drone's coming down. I'd continue to fly, but we don't have FPV. So one thing about it, it's landing pretty close. Well, we got one foot on the pad there, but FPV on my phone is still frozen. So, you know, don't know quite what to do there. So I'm gonna, oh, down there, look, we got it back. So it's back. So I'm gonna leave it recording. We're gonna take off again. And like I said, looks like we got about 3/4 battery. It's kind of hard to tell by looking at that little battery screen, but maybe we'll take it out and see if we can do an orbit. So I kind of like the way it flies. Let's do another droney. So reverse and up. Well, not bad. Okay, so I'm going to go out in the field and see if we can do an orbit. I'm looking at the horizon. Looks pretty good now. So, you know, when I was talking about the crooked horizon before, it could have just been because my screen was frozen. Yeah, so evidently I'm not getting it to initiate. So send the circle. There it goes. Okay, just took a second for it to. So the drone is moving away from me. And I don't know if you can adjust that radius or not. Then it turns around and it starts at circle. Sort of. I don't know what it's doing. It's just moving around up there. Yeah, it's not circling. It moved off. Yeah, it's just moving in one direction there, guys, slowly. So I don't know what that's about. Cancel circle fly. Okay, so it's right over the top of me. Let's try circle again. And let's go that direction. And let's send the information to the aircraft. Okay, so it's doing something. Okay, now it's moving. That looks a little better. So now it's turning around to face me, and now it started at circle. So I don't know what that was before, but let me drop the camera down here. There you can see me down there, and it is orbiting, albeit very slowly. So it does work. Okay. We're going to stop that circle and let's try follow me. We are getting low on juice here, folks. I wonder if it will go into emergency return to home. We might as well just see if it does. So I am going to try follow me. And it gives us some different, I'm going to just hit on the controller. And let's see. Yeah, it's following me all right. So that works. Hey everybody. Let's see if it'll follow me back to the camera over here. So typical of these kind of drones, you know, all those kind of automated features and stuff, they're often hit and miss on a cheaper drone like this. So I'm not so much concerned about that. What I have more of an expectation of is that we get a decent flight and video. So we're going to get out of that. So we canceled following. Let's fly the drone back out again. So we're going to fly it out a ways. And it actually flies pretty nice. I mean, you know, I'm not going to kid you. It's not a real precise drone, but it does okay. Yeah, so it stopped. Yeah, it won't take reverse, so I assume that might be from low battery. It wouldn't go for any further out, so I assume when the battery gets so low it limits your range. So let's hit return to home. And it immediately took that command. And let's see how close it gets this time. So it's funny how it, when it finally decided it wanted to go home, it sped up pretty quick. So I'm watching it. It's funny. It's kind of moving in fits and spurts. It is not, there, it's reorienting itself. And it is landing. Okay. So I think we're going to be fairly close again. So, you know, no complaints about the GPS on this guy. Kick the camera back up there. Don't want the camera pointing down. And it's kind of bouncing a little bit, but it is literally right on the edge of the pad. So I'm going to shut off video so that we don't get a corrupted file. And it says it wants access to my photos, which that's not a good sign, because that means that it's trying to save the video to my phone. I did put an SD card in it, so maybe I needed to tell it to save video to the SD card. I hope so. I mean, I hope that we do have video on the SD card, because I do have an SD card in it, but it didn't say one way or another, so maybe I'll get both. Maybe I'll get the transmission back to my phone and on the SD card as well. So in any case, let me get it all shut down, and we'll do a quick conclusion of our first flight with the SG906 Pro smart drone. Okie dokie, so the SG906 Pro, I think we had a pretty successful flight, considering that this is, you know, a very entry-level GPS drone. Some of the problems that I had initially were my own fault. When I was having problems getting a connection, I didn't have the battery fully seated. But so you have to kind of pull down on this thing to make sure it's all the way in there. When I hit the button, I was getting 4 lights on there, but obviously it wasn't in the drone, so it wasn't powering on the drone. That was step number 1. So, and then figuring out how to get the controller to connect to the drone was another little bit of a challenge, but we got that going on it. It actually flies pretty decently. You know, it had a pretty decent takeoff. I didn't see a lot of moving around or anything. It did okay. You know, range-wise, I think you're limited. When I flew kind of behind me with a little bit of obstruction with some trees and stuff, I lost the FPV connection almost immediately. So I actually had to hit return to home to get the drone back. This controller is not ideal. So these gimbals are just a force fit. They don't screw in, they're just a force fit in, and I had them come off on me repeatedly. So I'm just going to tell you that's kind of a phony deal, and you just need to think about that when you're flying this drone. We messed around with some of the intelligent flight modes. We tried the orbit, and it took a couple of tries, but we got that to work. You know, I'm going to say that's of limited usefulness on this particular drone. As only, you know, it only goes out so far, and then you can't control the speed of it. It was kind of a slow orbit, but I mean, it does work. And then the tracking mode, I had it tracked to the controller, and that seemed to work pretty good. So so I was happy with that. And like I said, then you can control the gimbal with these buttons on the back. So, you know, I'm cautiously optimistic. I haven't looked at the video yet, so the video is going to be key. The reason that you get it by a drone with a gimbal on it is because you want smooth, jello-free video without a lot of jumping around and so forth. So we'll take a look at that when we get home. I'm hoping it's good. So I'm interrupting here to tell you that I have looked at the video off the SD card, and it's terrible. It's shaky and full of jello, and that's just a bummer because I had really high hopes for this drone. Again, why have a gimbal on a drone if you're not going to get stable footage? The camera quality to me was acceptable, not great, but acceptable. But all of that jello and shaking is just terrible. If that is a success, I'm going to call this drone a success simply because the purchase price at $140 for an entry-level drone with brushless motors. That's the other thing I didn't mention is when I put it in high speed, we get up to 7 meters per second, which is plenty for a drone like this. That's pretty darn good. So happy with that. And you know, like I said, I kind of like the looks of the thing. And I don't know how much flight time we had. I was messing around there a lot at the beginning, but you know, it was all right. And oh, by the way, the calibrations worked very well on it too. You know, it walked you right through the calibration process, and so no problem at all. The drone has a lot of other features on it, waypoints and some different things. So you know, those are things for another video at another time. But anyway, I guess the point that I'm making is, you know, for $140 you can get a drone with GPS that flies reasonably, hopefully takes decent video, and of course it doesn't have a lot of range, but for that price you're not going to expect a lot of range either. It's a good way to start in this hobby. So I'll leave it at that, and let's hope that that the video looks good, and I'll let you guys be the judge of that when you see the video. We're still in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis. Today is May 1st. You know, observe those social distancing rules. A lot of stressed out people right now, so be kind to your neighbors. And yeah, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. And if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and we absolutely will see you on the next one. The SG906 Beast. It's a beast, all right. Okay, see ya.